All right, here's 6.6.1, Applications of Trig. And this is a part of the course where putting the good skills of right triangle trigonometry to work is kind of fun, and it can be interesting to figure out how to find lengths even if you're on the ground or you're in a house, and using the right triangles that are everywhere. So you can see here that I've highlighted a few things. Right triangles are everywhere. There are, we can assume some right angles, let's say with trees and towers and buildings, and a couple of other things that are really important for us to cover in this one. First is that angle of elevation. What does that mean? Well, best way for me to describe that is if this is you on the second story of a building, looking out this window, and you're looking at a nearby cell tower, and let's say it is 200 feet away. You know that because you can measure that yourself. And then from the second story, you look up, right, to the top of the cell tower, and you use a tool that allows you to figure out that what we call the angle of elevation, which is from the horizontal. So as if you were looking straight out, but then you look up, right? Let's say that's 36 degrees. Somehow you can measure that. That is the angle of elevation. The angle of depression, which will change to blue, let's say, is a little harder for people to understand, but if you think about it as also being from the horizontal, straight across, the angle of depression is looking down. Maybe that's an easy way to think about it. Let's say we look down and it's 28 degrees. That is the angle of depression, right, is this bottom part right here. And so in this problem, you can take those two measurements, and knowing that this is 200 feet away, right, and we can apply that 200 feet to this length right here. And now you have a right triangle where you have a leg, right? If I look at this right triangle right here, let's see if I can change the color up a little bit. Let's make it pink. This right triangle, right, now has a 36, a 200, and let's say we wanted to figure out the length or a piece of this cell tower, how high it is, right? We could easily figure that out with, and if you were thinking about it, it's an angle, it's an opposite, and it's an adjacent. So that would suggest tangent. Similarly, on the bottom, let's do a little green. There's another right triangle in the air. It's a right angle right here. It's 28 degrees. It's a leg of 200, and we could also find this length as well, because that's we can use the tangent ratio again. Tangent of 28 degrees is opposite over adjacent, which would be 200, and we can figure those things out. So there's a bunch of problems coming down the pike that are very similar to that. Very important to remember what angle of elevation is, angle of depression. Things like flagpoles and buildings are at right angles, and we'll go from there. Have fun.